What is this fight gonna look like?
Dude, I have fucking no idea. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, all right. Welcome to an episode of Two Fight Fans. We talk about all things in combat sports. I'm one fight fan, Colin.
And I'm the other Stuart.
All right. So this weekend, it has been brought to my attention that it is going to be an insane weekend. However, before we get to that, Stu, there is recent news that broke out this morning. I know this is going to be out on Friday, but we record on Thursday. Did you see some interesting news already?
I mean, I see that the continued dismantling of the United States government is going on. Did something else happen?
Yeah, it was something more exciting, more interesting, more intriguing. I don't fucking know. But
yeah. Let's take that again. How about something that is enjoyable, something that actually might be good for us all? How about
all right, this is a two-parter because I don't know if one of us predicted this late last year, but Ilia Topuria has vacated the featherweight title and will be fighting at 155, and the Volk Diego Lopez will be for the featherweight title.
Yeah, I saw this. Yeah. Thoughts on that?
It's gonna get very crowded at lightweight right now, and this is gonna be, all those like aging action fighters. Oh boy, this is gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah, I hope Topuria gets. I mean, it really we've got so much movement. Like, is Islam gonna go up and fight? The winner of Bilal, and it now has been announced Jack Della Maddalena and Bilal will fight rather than Shavkat.
Really?
Yeah,
because Shavkat's still out with his injury.
Yeah, still injured. Yeah, and I think it's actually the card after this one will be Bilal and Jack Della Maddalena.
Oh wow!
So does that mean Islam moves up and fights Jack Della Maddalena, and then suddenly do we have Topuria fighting, someone else, Arman Saryukin, Charles Oliveira for another vacant belt? I mean, it's the Diego Lopez Alexander Volkanovski fight is very good. It's always a little bit of a bummer when there isn't the kind of proper transfer of power in a division. But this is a good fight, and it'll be good to see what Volkanovski can do. I have a feeling Volkanovski will kind of style on Diego Lopez, but good fight. Yeah. And I'm glad that they pulled the trigger quickly with Topuria, so that we already have clarity.
Yeah.
So that's cool. What else?
That was I just literally pulled up everything, and that was the first headline that showed up. I was like, what?
Oh my gosh, so you don't even know about the rest of the card, my man?
No.
You don't even know that the co-main event is Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett?
No, I did not know that.
Yes, it is.
No fucking way.
And then Jeff Neal versus our chain-smoking, booze-drinking Carlos Prates.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's who else is on this one? Oh, Yair Rodriguez versus newly signed Patricio Pitbull from Bellator fame.
Okay.
Fighting Yair Rodriguez. And we've also got Yan Chanan versus Verna Jandiroba. It must be a title eliminator. Who else we got? Jim Miller versus Chase Hooper's on this card. Dan Ige versus the homunculus Sean Woodson.
Hey, I gotta see it now. I gotta see it.
This card slaps.
Yeah.
Good.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I hope we get to see Topuria more than once this year. I'm a little worried with timing with Islam and moving up, because I'm assuming he's going to immediately get a title shot, or maybe they'll throw him into a BMF title fight with Dustin Poirier or something, right? Because Dustin Poirier had called out Ilia Topuria, which I wouldn't mind that fight. That fight would be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But I hope we see him more than once a year because of this. But yeah, overall, card looks awesome. Card looks good, man.
Yeah, this is gonna be a pretty sweet card.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about a card that's not so sweet. It used to be
Okay.
sweet, and then we went low fat with it, and, it's just it doesn't have quite the same mouth taste. Alright. Henry Cejudo versus Song Yadong, UFC Seattle.
Yeah.
On this card, we used to have Edson Barbosa versus Steve Garcia. No longer on this card. We used to have Curtis Blades, one of 2, 3 interesting heavyweights to watch fight. No longer on this card. We used to have Dom Cruz, who we talked about
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
week, against Rob Font, which what I think would have been a good fight. We kept Rob Font, but now we've got some random jabroni that I don't know. Um, so the card just isn't quite as good. So rather than making picks, Colin, I'd love to just hear your thoughts on Henry Cejudo versus Song Yadong. How much do you like the fight? What do you think will probably happen in this fight?
That's again. When's the last time Henry Cejudo fought?
Last year, I think, against Merab Dvalishvili.
It was early last year. Okay, so about a year, actually, exactly a year ago now, February 2024.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, him coming out of retirement, like, has not gone well for him this far. um,
Yeah, I mean, he's only fought twice, and he fought the 2
yeah,
former bantamweight champions,
champions.
Aljo
Yeah,
Sterling and
I,
Merab,
I,
right?
I don't want to say like he didn't get like destroyed, but like Henry Cejudo dominated for so long, and like I just
Well,
it's
hold
one of those
on
things
now.
like
So long. He won the title in 2019, gave it up in 2020. My man was
God,
only at the top for 1 year.
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. He was dominant at flyweight too. Not dominant,
Yeah.
but he did. I won't we
Yeah,
won't
yeah.
get to that one too much, but I guess just I'm used to seeing him at the top of the game like that. So I don't know. It's weird that I still don't know why he came back. You know,
Money.
sure.
Probably needed money,
Mhm.
right?
um,
Why
but
why
yeah,
does anyone go to work? You need money. If you're independently wealthy, you're not showing up at the Popeyes being like, "Can I stand by the counter?"
but this is one of those other ones where he was a wrestling dominant fighter and has his years of wrestling and just abusing his body basically caught up to him. And he doesn't he doesn't seem to me to have that same sort of dynamic explosiveness that he had earlier on in his career when he won the flyweight championship, which again contentious,
Yeah.
but when he beat TJ Dillashaw and just yeah, he just doesn't seem to have that same dynamics and explosiveness, which
I think the
admittedly
difference
was like 5 years ago. So
the difference is like, yeah, almost 6 years. Like, it's the difference between
yeah,
32 and 38.
yeah.
You tell me, Colin, with your current age versus the time you were 32, are
Oh
you as
yeah,
dynamic and explosive?
no,
Yeah, yeah. Father time, defeats us all.
yeah, but yeah, and Song Yadong, like, is he is impressing. I think he's getting better, and he's what 29. Oh no, 27. So he's gonna be what 10 years younger than Henry Cejudo at a lightweight division, like or at a lighter weight class. I think that's gonna be a tough mountain to climb, you know, for Henry
Yeah,
Cejudo.
yeah. Now counterpoint, Song Yadong, we talked about the infamous rivalry between Dominic Cruz and Team Alpha Male.
Hmm.
Song Yadong is a product of Team Alpha Male. Song Yadong has had 31 fights professionally in MMA. The boy has not seemed to learn a jab. He's not seemed to really learn footwork. He's not really seemed to learn any side of like combination punching. What he does is he wings a huge overhand right and then starts swinging hooks. And then when he needs to close the distance, he shoots a takedown, like a classic double leg takedown. And then when it gets stuffed, he comes up and starts swinging. That sounds like almost Uriah Faber's game plan to a T.
Yep.
Uh, do you think Henry Cejudo could beat Uriah Faber, even young Uriah Faber, um, just because of his style and smarts?
I think at his height, yes.
But not now?
I don't know. That's the thing. We've talked a lot about how, you know, one, how the game evolves and moves on, which admittedly that doesn't seem to be happening with this matchup, but
Mhm.
just like when your game is predicated on like being explosive, dynamic, and using some of that athleticism to just out athlete someone, and
Mhm.
now you are 5 years older,
Yeah.
are you still able to implement that kind of game? Like, will does Henry Cejudo have other tools in his toolbox to fall back on when there's not that same athleticism?
Yeah. I I just feel like looking at Henry Cejudo doing that kind of like bouncy karate style, um,
Yeah.
and like knowing that Song Yadong has not been taught how to close distance by anyone at Alpha Male. I'm like, I don't see why Henry Cejudo couldn't bounce around for at least 3 rounds on the outside, kind of pot shotting with jabs or like kicks, and then maybe dropping 2 rounds, but still coming up with the win uh,
Mm,
over the long haul. I will say Henry Cejudo is gassed in both of his last fights since coming back.
yeah.
Now, one of them was a 5 rounder, and it was very grappling heavy with Aljamain Sterling, and then the other one was Merab Dvalishvili.
Being Marab.
Yeah, which like everyone gasses with him, but he did gas by like round 2 against Merab. Um, so that cardio is a little suspect. Which Song Yadong does not have that issue. Um, I just like it feels almost like an IQ test more so than
Mm,
like fight test, right? The book has been written on Song Yadong. We know how he fights. He never changes. He has not really added any skills since coming to the UFC. He just he's young. He's insanely durable. He's insanely fast. He hits like a truck, and he doesn't get tired. Right? He has all the athletic gifts you want in a fighter, but he just has none of the technique to kind of back it up. Whereas Henry Cejudo's pretty crafty. Uh, so I don't know. I think this will probably be a 5 round thing. Henry Cejudo can dance around on the outside and pot shot, take rounds away from Song Yadong, and then Song Yadong might come storming back when Henry Cejudo slows down.
mhm.
But I mean, Song Yadong doesn't know how to cut the cage. Song Yadong doesn't. Again, like I said, like when he wants to close the distance, he's like, I will shoot for a takedown because I don't know how to like move my feet in such a way to actually close the distance between myself and my opponent.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my thought. I think it's a good
Okay.
fight though. It's a good like see where it whoever loses this fight, basically, you can write off as, like, ever being a contender because these are kinda, like,
Mm,
fringe contenders in the division, right?
yeah.
Um, yeah, but I think a cool fight. I think it would've been cooler if it was Dom Cruz versus Song Yadong, though, if Dom
Yeah.
Cruz his body hadn't failed, because then we'd get another classic Dom Cruz alpha male matchup, and that's always fun, you know? Um,
Speaking of alpha, actually, I have a question for you. And I don't know if you know this here, but they seem to be like bringing in a lot of Chinese fighters lately.
do they?
I
Tell me
mean,
more.
well, I mean, I'm basing this off of two.
Got it.
You know, they've got Song Yudong and Yan Xiaonan trains there out of Team Alpha Male. So,
'Cause I
like,
think Song Yadong and Yan Xiaonan were training partners in China, um So, like, I think
oh, okay.
when they came over, they, like, started doing that, yeah, I think it's just that them 2.
Oh,
I'm
because
trying to
they have a okay.
yeah.
I just didn't know like how did that happen, and I'm just wondering if there are any other camps that are recruiting out of China or anything. Because we talked about this briefly, like, China has like a foundation for strong kickboxing, and they
Mhm,
just need to be if they want to have success in MMA, they just need to shorten their game in other areas like, jujitsu and things like that.
mhm,
But, if there was a strong camp that could quote unquote import athletes, then, it might help give them that it might help fill in the gaps in their training where they have a really strong foundation already.
yeah, so it actually looks like the first one to come over to the States to train was Li Jingliang, the leech,
Yep. Okay.
and then, he had been part of a camp in China that had Song Yadong, and then so, like, as these guys come out of China, they seem to be kind of at least a part of that camp affiliated, they're funneling into that, kinda like how the Dagestani fighters from the Abdulmanap camp go to American Kickboxing Academy in San
Right.
Jose, right? Like, I think it's kind of that, less of a special recruitment style. Because, like, the recruitment style for a long time was Uriah Faber would just show up at high school or college wrestling tournaments across California, especially Northern California, and just, like, pick up wrestlers that he thought were pretty good. That's how he picked up TJ Dillashaw. Yeah, that's how he picked up quite a few people. So, but no, yeah, man, the alpha male team has not really grown that much ever since the heyday of like TJ Dillashaw, Cody Garbrandt, Chad Mendez.
Oh, yeah.
Because now it's Song Yadong, Suma Derji, yeah, Chanan. I guess we still have Josh Emmett in there, kind of like old school, keeping it hanging. Oh, and Darren Elkins, the zombie of Darren Elkins is in there.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Let's talk about a middleweight fight.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
What is there even to say, Colin, about Brendan, I gladly beat my children, Allen, and Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, I lose until I win? What is this fight gonna look like?
Dude, I have fucking no idea. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, I know who I'm rooting for, but at the same time, like, it's kind of like you said. Am I just gonna watch his ass get beat for like 5 or 10 minutes before he decides to win, or like what? Like, what is gonna happen here?
Yeah, I got kind of no idea. It's weird to look at their records, right? Because you look at Anthony Hernandez. He loses the first round pretty badly against Roman Khabibov, and then submits him in the next round. Edmund Shabazian beats him in round 1, then round 2 and 3. He gets on top of Edmund Shabazian and eventually pounds him out. His big win before that was Adolfo Vieira, who was like a phenomenal grappler, who he just like tired out and then submitted, which is like kind of crazy. He tired out the Iron Turtle and submitted him. It's kind of the same thing with Brendan Allen. He tired out and then rear naked choked Paul Craig. He tired out Andre Muniz, another like grappler who just like gassed and then choked him out with a rear naked choke. Looks like his only submission actually is rear naked choke. It looks like he's just a big back hunter, Brendan Allen. So what I'm trying to say is both of these guys seem to make their bread off of fighting other grapplers, and or somebody with zero grappling, and then tiring out their opponent to the point where they can't defend a submission because it's middleweight. So any amount of like top control in the middleweight division, the people underneath get scared, panic, and gas. But now we've got both of them fighting. So like, what the fuck does that look like? Are they just gonna both like they'll get into a grappling exchange, they'll like lock into a position, and then both of them will just slowly gas and they'll die in each other's arms? Like, is that what's gonna look like? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have like an inkling of who you think will win?
No. Like, I think this was kind of a toss. What are the odds even for this fight? Like,
I do not know. Let's look.
yeah.
It's I mean, my gut. Also, the weirdest thing is Brendan Allen, before recently losing to Nasruddin Imavov, he had the longest active win streak in the middleweight division.
What?
Yeah, he had
Really?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins in a row. Right now, one of them is Sam Alvey, so that doesn't really count as a win, but it happened. Jacob Malkoun, Christoph Jocko, not good at all. Andre Muniz, Bruno Silva, Paul Craig. I mean, you submitted Paul Craig, good for you. Chris Curtis, in a fight too, where like, in that Chris Curtis fight, I think he was losing pretty badly, and then what happened? Did Chris Curtis like dislocate his arm in the fight, and then he like popped it back in or something? Or like, no, this is when Chris Curtis blew out his knee, and so he had to spend the entirety of round 5 like in like a crouched position, trying to like dodge
yeah.
round. Yeah, so that was like barely a win. Yeah, and then was out grappled by Nasruddin Imavov over 3 rounds. So, did you find the odds?
Oh, I did not hear, so I'll pull it up. Jeez.
Come on.
You're the odds guy.
I'm not. I can't find the odds. It's impossible. Who Who cares? Let's say it's a pick'em. I don't know. I don't know who's gonna win.
All right, all right.
It is one of these things though. With what Anthony Hernandez has a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fight win streak. So I mean, we're getting into like very close title contention. Whoever wins this thing, which is again another massive indictment on this division. I like Anthony Hernandez. I don't really care for Brendan Allen, but like I would never call either one of them high level or like high skill. It works at middleweight, but yeah, because I mean, like ahead of them, whoever wins this fight, the person ahead of them will be Marvin Vettori, Jared Cannonier, Kyle Bahalio, Robert Whitaker, Israel Adesanya, Hamzat Chimaev. Like, with one more win after this, you probably could be fighting Dricus du Plessis.
Jesus.
And is that the secret kryptonite to Dricus du Plessis? Is letting him beat you up for 3 rounds, then he gets tired, then you submit him. Because that's kind of how these guys fight. Is that secretly the right way to beat Dricus du Plessis? I don't know. Yeah. What a weird fight.
Yeah.
It's like, I guess one of the better ones you could make it middleweight, because it's at least like intriguing. You're kind of like, whoa, all right. But just weird as hell. Yeah. Anything else to say about that?
Yeah, no. I mean,
yeah. All right. I mean, it's middleweight. It's kind of it's a middleweight fight that's fun in the way that like young Stewart early last year when we started this podcast was like, I like middleweight. It's fun. It's kooky. This is kind of a kooky fight.
okay. What happens if they do end up just like both falling into grappling positions and just gassing out into each other's arms, like you said? Is that now going to just be even further like, I hate middleweight, I can't do this anymore?
Well, I guess the thing is like neither one of them, I will say, are ever in a boring fight, right? I might be infuriated by Brendan Allen's technique, and essentially that like his technique somehow wins him fights and allows him to be a ranked professional athlete in an organization in which I could never even sniff the ability to get there, but my technique I know is better than him, just throwing a 1-2 combination. Like, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We'll talk about it next week when it happens, so we can understand. Like, yeah. I mean, I kind of hope they both do kind of like die locked in each other's arms. That'd be funny. They both just gas and then they can't get up. Yeah, we'll see.
So I found the odds, by the way.
All right, lay it on me.
Anthony Hernandez, anywhere between like, it's basically a minus 300 favorite right now.
Ooh. I mean, I think people seeing that Brendan Allen got out-grappled by Nasruddin Imavov and then being like, well, Anthony Hernandez is a better grappler than Nasruddin Imavov. Maybe that's what did it. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what my gut pick would be. But I don't know if it should be minus 300.
Yeah.
I think this fight's a little bit closer than that. Yeah, cool. All right, that's middleweight.
Yeah.
Anything else on this card you really want to talk about?
No, because until you brought to my attention, I know what I'm not going to watch. I know what I'm going to watch instead. Let me say that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shit. It's early, too.
Yeah, it's in Riyadh. But I will give a shout out. We've got Blue Jean Silva, which is my new nickname for Jean Silva. Blue Jean Silva, the guy that like basically tore Drew Dober's face off. On like a really quick turnaround as well. Went up to lightweight. He knocked out Charles Jourdain with like a brutal KO. This guy's out of the Fighting Nerds. He is the most violent of the Fighting Nerds. He's very fun to watch, very cool. Featherweight, and again, now that the featherweight's kind of wide open, because we don't have Topuria there, we don't have Max Holloway there. It is just kind of reverting to the division of Alex Volkanovski, because I don't think Volkanovski is going to like now to try and make the move to 155 if he's hanging out here with the belt. John Silva would be a cool fight for him. So love to see that. Rob Fodd's fighting. I don't even know if I'm excited about Iwan Kutalaba and Ibo Aslan. Iwan Kutalaba is fun because he's like true. I mean, like we didn't start this podcast early enough because the amount of donkey brains moments he's had over the years is truly astounding. But it's kind of entertaining to watch him like bug out in there. Andre Fili's back. We like Andre Fili. Ricky Simone is there fighting Javid Basharat. That should be a fun fight. Ricky Simone's a little washed, but pretty good. Eh. Yeah, it's not the beautiful card it had been.
Mhm.
But yeah, no. But how we do have a card that is like actually truly astounding. We got to
Yeah.
talk through this. Uh Saturday, you're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 title fights on a single boxing card.
Yeah.
And these aren't like
That's
bullshit title fights either. These are real title fights between real title fighters. So we got to run through this, and you got to give me a score out of 10 for each one of these fights. For
yeah.
the undisputed title at light heavyweight, Artur Betterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol in their
Yep.
rematch. Out of 10, Colin, what is that?
I'm excited for it. I'd say 9 or 10 right there.
Yeah, it's one of the best fights you can make in boxing, my dude. So good. I'm so
Yeah.
pumped to see it. It's gonna be it's a good one. But in the co-main event, we have Daniel Dubois, person who famously knocked out Anthony Joshua after I was like, Anthony Joshua, clown him. The person who recently lost to Usyk, and because the IBF likes to take their ball and go home,
Yep.
is the current reigning defending IBF heavyweight title holder. Uh, Usyk has said whoever wins this fight, he will fight in his upcoming bout. I don't know where the
Oh.
fight's going to be to reunify all the heavyweight titles. So it
All
would be a
right. All right.
rematch between Daniel Dubois or against Joseph Parker, who recently just had a big upset win as well. Who did he just fight? But this is big heavyweight like boxing between young heavyweights as well. Like we've gotten so we're been into the kind of old guy boxing with Tyson and Usyk and Fury, or Tyson, Usyk, Deontay Wilder, and Anthony Joshua. But these guys are young. Joseph Parker out of New Zealand. Who did he just beat? But anyway,
I don't know.
this
I don't
fight
know anything about him.
he just beat Big Bang Zhang.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and before that he beat Deontay Wilder. Um,
Wow.
Yeah. So
Okay.
this guy, I think probably Dubois will probably smash him, but it's a no bullshit challenger for Dubois. Yeah. So what do you think about that? Dubois versus Parker.
Yeah, like having not really known and really only seen like a handful of fights or highlights from Daniel Dubois and not really knowing much about Joseph Parker. Yeah, the setup for I'm more looking for how this sets up the next fight.
Yeah.
So yeah, so pretty good though. So interesting. So one of the more interesting heavyweight anything fight, I guess you could say, since
Yeah.
in MMA there's like nothing at heavyweight anymore. So
Yeah. Yeah. And like it'll be dude, if Dubois wins and then we get the rematch between him and Usyk especially after when Usyk beat Fury in the rematch and then Dubois got into the ring and like blew up Usyk's spot unnecessarily because Usyk was always like, yeah, I'll always fight him. Like I have no issue with that. And then Dubois being like, you have to give me a shot. It's like, why you crowding the mic, man? Let Usyk just say his piece and then get out of the ring. I'd watch that. I'd watch that with a bag of popcorn. Um, Before that, we have Shakur Stevenson versus now. This is a late replacement, which is kind of a bummer
yes, yeah.
because Shakur Stevenson is one of the best of these like young lightweight, like in the Devin Haney, Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia. Shakur Stevenson is one of like probably the most skilled of all of those kind of like young lightweight fighters.
Mhm.
And he was supposed to have like a pretty decent fight here. His opponent dropped out, and now it's just Josh Padley. So this should be like kind of the scene in Jurassic Park where they lower that cow into the Velociraptor pit. Yeah. Now here's the thing: Shakur Stevenson is extremely defensively minded. He's kind of like Floyd Mayweather in that way. So
Mhm.
it's not going to be as violent as a raptor attack. It's going to be, I'm being a little like overly giving him too much credit. It probably will be very technical. It'll be very nip and tuck. It'll probably go all 12 rounds.
Mhm.
But cool to watch. I like watching Shakur fight. He's like
Yep.
one of the best technicians. Out of 10, what are you giving that?
Yeah, I mean, with the late sub in and late replacement and just where we do want to be seeing him, like it'll be good to see Shakur Stevenson because I've only just got familiar with his game. So,
Mhm.
but I think this will be another one of those kind of like highlight reel is just showing off his skill, not necessarily testing him and him fighting like the best of the best.
Yeah,
Because I don't know anything about John Padley either. So
nobody does.
okay, there you go.
I mean, he's never fought like really elite competition, right?
Yeah,
He's never fought, and he doesn't really share any opponents with any of those kind of like four lightweight standouts that I just mentioned, right?
yeah.
Without sharing any competition to see, like, it's you know, and like he just doesn't pass the eye test. You look at him, you're like, yeah, he's a solid boxer, right?
Mhm.
I mean, he's like good for this division, right? If those other four people were not there, would he be one of them, or would we just say like, lightweight kind of sucks right now, you know, like? But Shakur is very good. I hope he puts his foot on the gas a little bit in this fight because his last one was pretty uninspiring, right?
Yeah.
It was another one where he had his opponent really easily outmatched, and he just was like, I can just stay 3 steps ahead of this guy, but I don't need to push it and risk anything. So hopefully he will attempt that a little bit.
Mhm.
Before that, now here's the only fight I don't really know on this card. It's for a middleweight title, but I don't
Yeah.
really know Adamez or Shira. Carlos Adames and Hamza Shira. I have no idea about this. Out of 10
I was
points.
relying on you to tell me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Now, hold on. There are 2 Z's in the naming of this fight. And this guy has the name Adam with an ES as if there are multiple Adams. Um, does that make it more exciting for you? Are you like, well, on paper that looks kind of cool.
You know what? Sure, sure, sure.
Sometimes that's all you
That
can
is
take
added
in.
some intrigue.
Yeah. It's like when you see a fight and it's like between somebody named like Johnny Smith, and then like you see the name like Urkdokbek McGoyaklock, and you're like, all right, somebody's gonna get absolute. I think Johnny Smith is gonna get absolutely demolished, right? You just got to look at the name on paper and go, all right, I think I know where this is going. You know what I mean?
Uh, sure, sure.
Yeah, in MMA, I mean, right? Like you're like, all right, that's definitely a Dagestani name. I think Johnny Smith is gonna get grounded to paste, and that's kind of what I'm looking at here. I'm like, all right, we got some Z's in one name. We've got Carlos, what looks like Adams, but it's a Tomez. Yeah, uh, whatever. We're moving on because there's an amazing fight before this. Now it is for an interim title, but it's a great fight between two absolute action fighters: Virgil Ortiz Jr. versus Israel Madrimov. Bro, have you seen either of these guys fight?
No,
These
give
dudes
me the lowdown.
twang. These guys are awesome. And both of them, I feel like, are just going to stand in the center of the ring. Kind of like the Isaac Pitbull Cruz fight last time, where they just
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
it's just going to be that, but they're at welterweight. So they're just a little bit bigger. I love this fight. This is,
Okay,
I mean, Betterbiev and Bivol will always be the thing I'm most interested in, but this is my number 2 on the card. This should be all action for as long as it goes.
okay, okay.
Yeah, this should be oh yeah, dude, you gotta watch like some of their highlights. These guys, yeah, these guys just are hard nosed, right in the center of the ring, and beat the piss out of each other.
All
Um,
right, nice.
yeah. Before that, we've got I don't know if he's your favorite, but I love his name. Big Bang Zhang is
I
back, baby.
that's a great name. This
Yeah,
is fantastic.
yeah. Big Bang Zhang is here, and he's fighting. Admittedly, I don't know much about Ajit Kabayel, but it is for a vacant interim title, which is kind of silly. But if it gets Big Bang a belt, I love it.
Yep.
I'd love to see Zhang versus, dare I say, like Francis Ngannou. I think that could be kind of cool.
All right.
But yeah, Zhang is awesome. Zhang gets in there, and like he says, I bang. Um,
Yep.
this should be fun. It's big uglies at heavyweight. I think both of these dudes are like almost 40 and or over 40. I
Oh
love
boy.
this is like premium slop at heavyweight. You know what I mean? This is the pudding skin at the top of the slop bucket that we peel off.
Putting skin at the top of the slot bucket. You
Yeah,
disgusted, man.
it's
Come
the good
on.
stuff. It's the good stuff. And then before that, I mean, dude, this card is there's more fights on this fucking main card than there are on the UFC card, which is crazy. That doesn't happen in boxing.
Yeah.
And it's Joshua Boutsy versus Callum Smith. Callum Smith, an absolute action fighter at light heavyweight, always makes the fight interesting. Never is in a boring fight. And he's fighting another kind of like I wouldn't say action fighter, but a fighter who fights at a pretty high pace. So whatever ever happened this fight, again, it's for an interim light heavyweight title. Who really cares? But this is solid matchmaking for ensuring that the first fight of the night is extremely high paced and is engaging, bringing in viewers.
Mhm.
This is this is good stuff. So, sorry, I forgot to ask. What's your score for the Big Bang fight? Or yeah, Bang Zhang, and then for this Callum Smith fight.
Yeah. Uh, I really only know Big Bang Zhang and Callum Smith, so I like them both, so I'm excited. I'm excited for both of them. So, but I don't know anything about the other fighters, so I guess like a 7, because it's basically riding entirely on those individuals. But still, I like it. The fact that in the little boxing that I've watched in this last year, I know these two, and I'm excited for them. And I'm just like surprised that on this card, Callum Smith is the opener.
I
Like
know,
how
right?
ridiculous is that?
Because what he was headlining cards. Was his last fight a headline?
I thought he had like yeah.
Let's look. Callum Smith. Also, Callum Smith. You want to talk about a natural born hater, a la Dom Cruz? Callum Smith, dude. He does not suffer fools. Even if you just like sneeze in the wrong direction, he gets pissed off. Oh yeah, he headlined 2 fights ago. He fought Artur Betterbiev.
Oh, there you go.
For 3 of the titles. Yeah. And he fought Canelo Alvarez like 3 fights before that. For a super heavyweight or a super middleweight title. Like, yeah, he's great. And he's fought some of the greats and should be good. It should
Yeah.
be good. This card slaps, dude. And
Oh yeah.
if you're in the one true time zone, Pacific, shit starts at 7:30 a.m. This is a cup of coffee and fights kind of deal.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, grab a croissant, get a cup of coffee, and watch some fights. That's not bad at all. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Anything else to say about this? I mean, like we get so much movement, um, especially in the heavier divisions after this, because if Betterbiev and Bivol, let's say Bivol wins, you're gonna have to probably do the rubber match. But if Betterbiev wins, he could maybe move up to heavyweight, or he can, try to fight at cruiserweight against Usyk, which Usyk has said he might be willing to do,
Mhm.
because they have fought before, and I believe Betterbiev is actually, or he dropped Usyk in an amateur bout when they fought, I believe at the Olympics.
Oh.
Um, Dmitry Bivol, Canelo keeps chirping about wanting the rematch, and that would be the only fight Canelo will take probably for the remainder of his career that would be of any challenge to him. And since I'm kind of pissed off at Canelo, I hope he does it so that Bivol can beat him again. Dubois Parker, whoever wins that, is going to fight Usyk for all 4
Yeah.
belts again.
Yep.
That's kind of cool. Big Bang Zhang, like, with a win here, does he fight Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury or Francis Ngannou or Deontay Wilder? I don't know, but it's pretty cool. I like that.
Mhm.
Virgil Ortiz, Madrimov, I hope they both get a big sack of money because they're never going to fight for an undisputed title again, probably. And they're both going to take years out of each other's lives in this fight.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's just the Shakur Stevenson one. I'm kind of bummed, but hopefully he'll get like a real fight after this. And again, I know nothing about Carlos Adams and Double Z Hamza Shara, so yeah. But this feels like UFC 300 but for boxing to me. Like
Yeah,
you've never
that's a good parallel right there.
cards this stacked, right? Now it doesn't have like the sex appeal of a Canelo or like a big star, right? And it doesn't have undisputed heavyweight like we've been kind of spoiled with Fury and Usyk, but for the rest of boxing, this is about as good as it gets. Yeah, because I mean, what other stars are there that you could put Tank Davis on this? You could do the Ryan Garcia Devin Haney rematch, but that's like right. That's about it. This is it.
Yeah.
Oh, and Betterbiev also might fight Benavidez afterwards because Benavidez holds a bunch of
Ah.
interim titles across the light heavyweight division. And I'd watch Betterbiev versus Benavidez. That shit would slap.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, dude, this is a smorgasbord of fights this weekend.
Oh
You
yeah.
can watch UFC. You can watch boxing. I'm sure there's something else going on somewhere. Oh, is there one championship fight this weekend as well? It's a
Oh,
whole
is
bunch of
there?
stuff. I don't know.
That'd be Friday, so.
Yeah. It's too much. It's too much, actually. I think we need to pull back. I don't know. Where do you even find one championship events? I go to their website and it's just like the design. They've got so much like bright yellow and reds and everything everywhere, and they've got like a blinking button, and it's just like oh, there's a fight happening right now. Actually,
Uh,
yeah,
well,
there's
there you go.
Peacock versus Suzuki. So like I guess there was one, but they just never told anyone. Or
Yep.
like Joshua Pasio versus Jared Brooks. Jonathan Haggerty's fighting.
Oh, what? He's
Yeah.
fighting right now?
Not at this moment, but like he's fighting on this card that has just started against Wairu. Shamil Erdogan versus Ong La Song. We got a lot of people. Cade Rulatolo's fighting apparently.
What?
Dude, the one never tells. Like, there's nothing. There's no promotion of their cards. I never know when they're happening. It's, uh, it doesn't. It feels. How am I gonna say this? If I'm running an organization that supposedly is meant to be for spectators to come and enjoy, um, sometimes when you see organizations that do that and they don't seem interested in the number of spectators, it might mean that there is some sort of kind of money washing scheme going on. I'm not saying that's happening with any specific organization. I'm just saying, in this hypothetical, the nebulous organization uh, might not actually be interested in putting on things for its fans to see. Um, yeah, that's how it feels to me. Because how did we not know that Cade Rulatolo was fighting Ed John Haggerty at
Yeah.
7 a.m. on a Thursday? The fuck are you talking about? Wild. Anyway, well, that's this
You
week.
you can just watch it on their YouTube channel apparently right now.
Like, what do... I'd love to understand their monetization model. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Well,
Yeah.
that is the fights coming up this weekend. Did you watch the fights last weekend? I know you were like sailing the high seas like a pirate.
I was. And no, I didn't. Like, I would check my phone every now and then. And all I know is like, man, I think I got all that shit wrong. Like,
Well, no, we got the Calvin Kattar fight we called correctly. Yusuf Saval definitely
okay.
won that fight. It was a little bit kind of like the who was it that just beat Jose Aldo? Was it Mario Batiste?
Yeah.
Who was it? Yeah. Right. You're like, man, nobody felt good about watching you win that fight, and you did it in the like most boring way, and that's kind of what happened against Calvin Kattar. He like won the first 2 rounds, and then the third round, he just was like, I only need to land one jab, and then if I just like skate around the outside and never engage, I've won the fight. It's like, as a young fighter, I guess makes sense, but it's not very entertaining overall. And then Hobocop dropped Jared Cannonier in the 2 times in the first round. Looked like he was going to beat the bejesus out of him, and then immediately gassed after about minute 6 of the fight. And then Jared Cannonier came back, took over. It makes the stoppage that Jared Cannonier had against Imavov, where people were like, I think he probably could have recovered if you gave him a little bit more time. This definitely showed that he probably could have recovered. So I don't know. I don't know what you do with Jared Cannonier. Oh, actually, I do. I was gonna like say this. He's not gonna fight Izzy. He's lost to Izzy before. He's not gonna fight Robert Whitaker. He lost to Robert Whitaker before, right? Like he is kind of this elite gatekeeper in this division. Why don't we just use him to kind of sort the wheat from the chaff, and let's just throw him in against Bo Nickel. Let's just have Bo Nickel prove himself against Jared Cannonier.
All right.
I think that's probably best. Or maybe Hobocop versus Bo Nickel. Like let's start testing Bo Nickel. Because I mean I don't really I don't know. I mean the nice thing about Hobocop is it's all fresh matchups. Like he could go and fight like the Marvin Vittori's. He could probably fight Brendan Allen, Anthony Hernandez, loser. Right? He can still fight some of these guys in the 15 to 10 rankings. But Jared Cannonier, like everyone ranked above him will be rematches except for Drickus and except for Hamzat. And it's like he's not going to get a title shot. So let's have him fight Bo Nickel. Let's have Bo Nickel kind of show us whether or not, kind of like Tatiana Suarez, like just show us whether you're ready to do this shit. You know, like we're not going to wait around anymore.
Yeah.
And especially with Bo Nickel, right? Like I want him to be forced to actually show us anything. Yeah. That's my thought about that fight. So yeah, we've got good fights, and then we don't really have any boxing on the horizon. In the month of March, we've got 2 fight cards, 3 fight cards. That Ankalaev, Pereira fight card looks kinda
Yep.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where they moved the Curtis Blades fight. Okay. Joshua Van's fighting on that card as well.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
actually a pretty good card. Um, yeah, I don't mind that at all. Oh, and then the UFC's got to update their site. They've moved around fighters all over the place. Where I'm like, they're fighting this weekend. How are they on this card? But it must be that they like picked and moved them and didn't reflect it.
Yeah.
Anyway, alrighty. Well, this has been Two Fight Fans podcast. I'm one Fight Fan Stewart.
I'm the other Colin.
Watch the boxing this weekend. You can watch the
Fuck yeah.
Seattle card. Yeah, watch boxing this weekend. It should be spectacular. And even if like half of the fights suck, you still have half of the fights with huge stakes being really good, right? Like if the first 4 fights absolutely blow, it doesn't matter because you have 5 more fights with the likes of Shakur Stevenson, Daniel Dubois, Bivol, Betterbiev, a guy whose last name looks like it's multiple Adams. That's pretty cool. Like that's not bad. And we also know Big Bang Zhang doesn't have boring fights. Callum Smith doesn't have boring fights. Madrimov and Virgil Ortiz Jr. definitely don't have boring fights. Yeah, this should be great. My heart is a flutter. All right, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye bye.